Where is it that you see APAC actually inspiring when it comes to enterprise marketing? And where is it that APAC can actually learn from other established markets?
Yeah, well, with our latest research, AI and digital trends, we saw that in APAC, CMOs are much more likely to adopt AI. I've been asked, hey Duncan, when AI came, what did you do with your organization? And I say, organization change is an evolution, not a revolution. So I do think that there is a fine line of leveraging AI to help support our business to get to market faster, not flood the market. That is not the goal.
Dear viewers, welcome to another episode of Conversion Conundrums brought to you by Economic Times Brand Equity. I'm Anirban Choudhury, and this episode with me I have Duncan Egan, the Vice President Enterprise Marketing for APAC and Japan, Adobe. Thank you very much, Duncan, for joining me here in the show. I would like to understand from you, you cater to students, enterprises, large government organizations. How is it that you decide when to go with your product and make it the hero and when to stick to the brand that has been built over the years?
Yeah, great question. And I think, a company like Adobe, who's been around over 40 years, has had to deal with this since we began selling products.
Yes.
As we move from single product sales to solution sales, it has evolved and our branding has evolved. I think we're very fortunate that we have a very strong brand, right? So when we look at really the different types of people that we market to, there's business professionals, there's creative professionals, and there's marketing professionals, all hanging over the Adobe umbrella, right? So really our challenge and our opportunity is, I think, to the consumers that are buying our products, it's more product and value focused. What is the latest in this product? How can I leverage it? When we start to move to the enterprise, it's more brand and solution focused, right? And we also have the Adobe brand where we like to get out the message. For example, at this conference, we're talking made to create, right? And how everybody can use our products to create something. So it's a really great opportunity for Adobe to think about our segments, our audiences, and the message that's really going to help inspire them to try our products or to try something new with generative AI and just experience it.
Duncan, you have been speaking about how APAC inspires you, how APAC has, can easily leapfrog. I want to understand from you, where is it that you see APAC actually inspiring when it comes to enterprise marketing? And where is it that APAC can actually learn from other established markets?
Yeah, well, with our latest research, AI and digital trends, we saw that in APAC, CMOs are much more likely to adopt AI and try AI. Our colleagues in North America and Europe are a little more cautious, but they have oftentimes a better infrastructure, right, to leverage. So it's going to be interesting to see over the years, early adoption and build the infrastructure versus what is already there. So what we are seeing, though, when we talk to CMOs and our customers, that the need to leverage AI and take it from the playground to production is there. And again, in APAC, we're really seeing people put it into production, seeing efficiencies both gained in time and also an ROI perspective. So I think for all of us, it's a very exciting time. And particularly in JPAC, we have to be aware of rules, regulations, governance, which again, Adobe can help with. But it is an exciting time for all of us as marketers on how we're going to leverage these tools.
You are a global brand and you are equally important in local markets that you operate in. Talking about India, you help people communicate better. The CMOs communicate better. Probably it's the only market where they communicate in so many languages. Where is it you draw the line and say that, this is where you should localize and here is where you must retain your global ethos?
Yeah, we look at how much we can leverage from the center. My rule of thumb is I would like 80 to 90% come to us that we can leverage. With, again, the AI tools of today, changing out a person or a word or changing a language is very easy. We don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money on sending it to an agency to do that anymore. So what I look at is in the markets where we need to either translate or transcreate, we will do that. Korea is an example. Japan is an example. In India, I leave it up to my experts, the people on my team. What do you guys think is going to have the biggest impact on the enterprises that we're going to go after, right?
Yeah.
So, that's why I think from a Adobe perspective, we empower our leaders to help educate us on the market nuances, and we adapt as we go.
You have mentioned about linear funnels being shifted. I want to understand, when you personalize or go individual, what is it that you need to change organizationally? Are there operational changes, or are there more personal skill developments? What exactly happens behind it?
Great question. And I've been asked, hey, Duncan, when AI came, what did you do with your organization?
Yeah.
And I say, organization change is an evolution, not a revolution, right? This is not something we change overnight. It's something we change over time. As we deploy new tools, AI-based tools, the scope of someone's work might increase. So someone now is able to create digital advertisement, is able to translate them and deploy them, right? So we're learning and we're evolving as we go when it comes to the organizational change. And I think my advice to people around the org and the change is lean into it. Okay. Really look at how you can leverage this. And like I said, I don't think any of us know the right answer, and I think it might be unique for every company. But as Adobe and early adopters of both our tools and other tools, we're really seeing how we can put that into the hands of our field marketers or our studios, and to see how we can best leverage those tools and the workflows.
So how do you make this, marketing to buying groups work? Especially in APAC, and you lead Japan as well, so JPAC. So how do you actually make it work?
Yeah, so it's a great point. As we mentioned, we moved from a linear funnel where we would target somebody at an organization and we would follow them through to eventually get them to sales.
Yeah.
We have realized, and we probably should have realized this a while ago, that in enterprise, there's a buying group. That is not usually a single person that buys a multi-million-dollar product. So we've evolved to looking at buying groups, of which no enterprise is the same, and also the engagement with Adobe, right? So we look at how many website visits, how many webinars, how many executive engagements do we have. All of this really starts with good data. If we have good data, we can better understand the intent and the signals. The second piece there is really around how do we orchestrate the engagement, and then obviously, how do we develop the content, because content is exploding, to be able to deliver to those audiences. Correct. So I would say we're a year and a half in. We've had some really good insights. As an example, if a salesperson says, big deal is closing in 4 weeks, and we have very little engagement from that account, that's a yellow flag to say, hey, let's just make sure that we have the right plan, engagement with that account to go forward. Okay. We have other accounts that are very engaged with us and we don't have any pipeline. Correct. So there's another opportunity to go have conversations around what that customer's looking for and how we can solve their problem.
We've seen this journey where CMOs, or marketing as a function, used to be called a cost center function, to how it became revenue driver. Not essentially for all companies, but it was majorly the discussion. Then we now see so many CMOs are actually becoming CEOs all around the world. I want to understand from you, what are the metrics that matter to you? Because on one side, you might say there are 3 leads in the pipeline. On the other side, they might say, oh no, I pitched the person. It gets messy. Yeah. So what are the metrics that matter to you? And what are the vanity metrics that you would rather stay away from?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I would start with customer satisfaction, right? As a, we want to have, like, selling a bunch of stuff to customers who aren't happy is not going to help anybody, particularly our customers. The second piece is sales, right? So, are we delivering to the business what we've said we've delivered? When I click down a little bit further and say, from a marketing perspective, Adobe being extremely data-driven, we have data on everything, right? What I look at, and we can measure pipeline, we can measure velocity, we can measure all kinds of different points. Really what I look for is the anomalies or the weak points. And I want to be ahead of someone coming to me saying, Duncan, we have a problem, right? So if we have a segment of business somewhere, it's not performing, I want to know about it and I want to have an action plan. Correct. So to answer your question, the metrics that matter are the ones that help me and my organization guide the business. And those might change depending on the month, the quarter, the year. But at the end of the day, we are driving pipeline, progressing pipeline, closing deals, and then ideally having happy customers.
Okay.
That's really how I think about the business.
You mentioned about satisfaction, experience. If we talk about, what do you think is the under-invested part when it comes to B2B experiences that could probably work better for conversions?
You bet. And I wish I had a wonderful answer that hasn't been said in the history of marketing, but it all comes back to data.
Okay.
Right? When we have agentic ready data, we can then service our customers and our prospects in a meaningful way. We can create content, we can create imagery that is going to be appealing and hopefully a value add to them.
Yeah.
When we are playing with missing data, we are not able to cater to customers and prospects as best as we can.
Okay.
So I would say the biggest miss from a lot of organization is the data. And now it's, data, content, and then journeys are all part of the puzzle. But to me, great marketing, great experiences start with data.
Very well put. You mentioned about creation and content. That's the part where in India, and I'm sure in other parts of the world as well, AI is coming into and becoming a large conversations. Where do you draw the line where AI is actually accelerating your marketing goals versus AI is leading to average content? We see both equally evident. I think the latter is better more, but where do you draw the line?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to what are the marketing/business objectives, right? And all of us want to put out excellent marketing. I don't know any marketer that aspires to put out mediocre marketing.
Correct.
Right. So I think when I look at AI, and particularly in the creative process, we see massive benefits in ideation.
Yeah.
Early ideation around creative or messaging that's going to help you get to market faster. We are not creating imagery just to shove out into the marketplace to overwhelm you
Correct.
with Adobe and what we're trying to do. We want to be thoughtful around, is it on message? Is it, culturally right for that market?
Yeah.
And is it hitting the right persona and target audience?
Correct.
Right. So I think, you can, all of us can go out there on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok and see AI generated content. And it's not appealing to me. And a company that did that is not appealing to me. So I do think that there is a fine line of leveraging AI to help support our business to get to market faster, not flood the market. That is not the goal.
Last question. There are many young viewers who are probably watching it, inspired by you. I want you to leave them with some thoughts. If they are the leaders of tomorrow, how should they prepare themselves, especially when they're coming into the marketing functions? I ask you this question because we are in this era of AI and it cannot be denied.
Yeah, I think it's such an exciting time right now. I would say in my career, the advent of the internet and mobile phones and the iPhone, but I think this moment we have right now is so exciting. And a lot of the media, scares people around AI and what it's going to do. My advice to any young creator, young professional looking to have a career is embrace AI. See what it can do. Learn about how you can leverage it. Learn about how it become your partner in how you're going to progress your career. Right? It is not, for good people that are thinking and are leveraging it strategically, it should not replace you. It should enhance you. You should be able to do things better, faster, and uniquely. Right. And that's the benefit of the youth, is you're thinking differently than someone like myself. You're going to bring new ideas, and that's what we're always looking for. So my advice is get out there, try it, try new things, get engaged with communities so that people can see what you're doing, hear what you're doing. But like I said, I think the opportunity is really to embrace this. In fact, at this event, we just announced that we have given Adobe Acrobat, Firefly, and Photoshop free to all students. So there is no excuse not to try at least our tools and other tools that are out there to see what's possible. So like I said, a very exciting time.
Great. Thank you very much, Duncan, for your time. It was lovely having this conversation with you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
That was Duncan Egan, and we understood from him how is he looking at B2B marketing, not just for today, but also for tomorrow. Thank you for staying with us. When you say Gen AI will become marketeer's best friend, should the agency guys get worried about it because they used to be your close friends?
It's a collaboration between agency and the client, I would say. Both the teams have to be sitting on the same table, then along with business. Intent for me is more about input, personalization is more about output. Through Green Yoda, what we have been able to achieve over the last 3 years is connect with large number of organizations in India, whether these are public or private sector organizations. We have been able to engage with millions of end consumers, really telling people that being sustainable will need collective efforts of all.